Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today I'm talking Carrots 101, the basics. And as usual, I have a lot of information here in front of me, so forgive me for reading, but don't worry about copying things down because I have the notes available for you. They're too long for me to put in the description box below, but I do have a link in the description box where you can just click on it and go right to my blog post and you'll be able to copy the notes from there. So don't worry about taking notes, just sit back and listen and jot down any questions that you might have that I did not answer along the way, and if I can answer them for you, I'll be glad to at least give it a try, okay? Now about carrots, these beautifully orange vegetables that we're all very, very familiar with. I may have some information here that you already know, and I may have some that you haven't heard before, so stay tuned here. Carrots are root vegetables most of us are familiar with. The orange variety is in most, if not all, grocery stores in the United States. But did you know carrots also come in purple, black, red, white, and even yellow varieties? How about that? And carrots have been traced back 5,000 years in historical documents and paintings, and they may have been used earlier than that. We just can't trace it back any further than that, okay? Interestingly, carrots were originally used as medicine for assorted ailments and not for food, okay? And scientists have even traced carrots back as far as the dinosaurs. Imagine that, okay? Nutrition tidbits. The high carotenoid content of carrots is what gives them their color. So when we have different varieties of carrots, the different colors, they have different pigments in them that will cause them to have those different colors, and those pigments are important health properties, okay? We've all heard that carrots are good for our eyes, and that is a very true statement, but carrots are also good for our cardiovascular health, and they also have some anti-cancer properties too. They are an excellent source of beta-carotene, which we know is a precursor to vitamin A, a very good source of biotin, fiber, molybdenum, potassium, vitamin B6, and vitamin C. And they're good sources of manganese, copper, other B vitamins, and vitamin E as well. Now, a little controversy here. According to the World's Healthiest Foods website, which I think has a lot of wonderful information on it, carrots are a very good source of vitamin K. Now, I have found other sources say that vitamin K is low in carrots. So there is some mixed up information out there on to the vitamin K content of carrots. It might depend upon how the vegetable was grown and the soil in which it was grown. I'm not sure on that, and exactly where this controversy is coming from, I can't say. But I do want to say that if you're taking blood thinning medications, the amount of vitamin K that you ingest is a very important factor. So you might want to check with your doctor or your registered dietitian on how many carrots that you're able to safely eat with the amount of medication that you are taking. It should not be a problem to the best of my knowledge, but it never hurts to check. Now, another thing. People who eat an overabundance of carrots, nothing wrong with that unless you're taking Coumadin or warfarin, something like that, a blood thinning medication. People who eat an overabundance of carrots might notice that their skin starts to turn yellow or has turned yellow. Now, if this is you, no, you are not jaundiced. These people have not developed a liver condition. They've just taken in a whole lot of beta-carotene, and that is what's caused their skin to turn yellow. To turn that around, all you need to do is slow down on your ingestion of carrots or beta-carotene containing foods. It's not a condition to be concerned with. You don't need to run to the doctor and, oh, what's wrong with me? Just bear in mind what you're eating, pay attention to what you're eating, and if you're eating an overabundance of beta-carotene, and this happens, slow down on those foods and the condition will correct itself. Now, how to select carrots? Well, in most grocery stores, carrots can be found whole, with or without the green tops, sliced, shredded, ground down to baby carrots. Yes, the baby carrots are actually ground down larger carrots, and there's nothing wrong with that. And buying the carrots in these pre-cut forms is fine. They may cost you a little bit more per ounce, per pound, whatever, but it can save you some time in the kitchen. So it's a matter of what your personal preferences are on that and your needs at the time. Look for carrots that are firm, smooth, bright in color, and relatively straight. Avoid those that have a lot of cracks in them, or that might be on the limp or rubbery side. Those are older, they've gotten a little bit dehydrated if they're limp. So opt for ones that look crisp and firm and brightly colored, and they look fresh, okay? If the tops are not attached, look at the color of the stem end, where the carrot tops have been cut off. Look at that. If it's very, very dark, it does indicate that the carrot has some age to it, okay? If the green tops are still attached, they should be brightly colored and look kind of feathery and not wilted at all. If they do look wilted, those carrots have some age on them. If that's all you have to choose from and that's what you want, go ahead, but plan on using them right away instead of storing them for some length of time. Now, the sugars are concentrated in the core of the carrot. You know, if you slice a carrot and you look at that slice, you'll see that there's a core there and then an outer area as well, almost like an eye. And the sugars are concentrated in the core. So a larger carrot is going to have a larger core, which means a larger carrot will be sweeter than a thinner carrot. A good point there. How to store your carrots? Obviously, we want to store them in the refrigerator, in the coolest part if you possibly can. And you want to minimize moisture loss by keeping them in a plastic bag or wrapped in paper towels to reduce their condensation. That will help. An important point here, store them away from ethylene-producing fruits and vegetables like apples and pears and even potatoes. The gases that are released by those ethylene-producing vegetables that they release as they age can cause carrots to taste bitter. They should be able to keep for about 2 weeks in the refrigerator when they're stored properly. When you go to eat them, check them out. If you notice that the tip, the point of it, is starting to turn dark, please do cut that off. It's aging and starting to rot actually at that point. So you don't want to eat that at all. You don't want to eat that. Cut it off. When in doubt, throw it out. Remember that phrase. When in doubt, throw it out. It can save you from getting sick at some point in time, whether it's carrots or anything else. Now, if you have a lot of fresh carrots and you can't use them up within a reasonable amount of time, you can freeze them. Blanch whole small carrots in boiling water for 5 minutes, or you can dice them up and slice them up or cut them into small lengthwise strips. And the cut pieces you only need to boil blanch for about 2 minutes or so. And then you want to take them immediately out of that hot water and put them in an ice water bath for the same length of time that you had them in the boiling water. If they boiled for 5 minutes, put them in that ice water bath for 5 minutes or more to make sure that they're completely cooled. Then drain them, put them in freezer containers or bags, however you plan to label them. They should keep well for 10 to 12 months in the freezer when they're frozen properly. And I do have a link in my notes to my video, Dehydrating or Freezing Carrots, and I show how to blanch them, okay? Blanched carrots can also be dehydrated, like I just said in that video. Follow the instructions that came with your dehydrator on the right temperature and the length of time, approximate length of time on the proper way to dehydrate them. Okay. How are carrots usually eaten, raw or cooked? I think all of us can answer that question. Both ways. Carrots are very popular, eaten either raw or cooked, okay? Interestingly, we actually absorb more beta-carotene when the carrots are cooked than when they are raw. But it's kind of a trade-off, because when you cook them, you can experience some loss of some other nutrients. So my point would be to eat them both, raw and cooked, and just vary what you do. You don't have to stick with all raw or all cooked. Just eat them any way you enjoy them, and you'll get some wonderful benefits out of them. If you do cook them, it's helpful to cook them with the least amount of water possible, okay? Fresh versus frozen versus canned. In most American grocery stores, all three varieties are available to us and year-round. So we're very, very fortunate for that, okay? Fresh carrots are usually your best bet, nutritionally speaking, and they're going to be the most versatile, because you can cook them, you can eat them raw, you can freeze them, you can dehydrate them, you can can them if you want to can them. So you've got the most nutritional potential and the most flexibility potential with raw carrots. Frozen carrots are a great second choice to raw, because they're usually frozen, processed shortly after being harvested. So most of their nutritional content has been preserved through the freezing process. So they are a good second choice over fresh. Canned options are a good staple to have on hand. Nutritionally speaking, they are your last option. Okay, your versus fresh or frozen. Canned would be your last option. But I'm not totally against canned foods, because they're a good staple to have on hand in case of an emergency, or you need something in a hurry and you've got them on the shelf and you don't have time to the grocery store. You can use them that way, okay? If your electricity goes out for an extended period of time and you need to prepare a meal of some sort, you can open a can of carrots and just eat them right out of the can. Whereas frozen carrots, oh, you could thaw them out, or they could thaw in your freezer if there's no electricity, and they are edible. But if you prefer something to be lightly cooked, the canned carrots would be a good thing to have on hand, because they're softer. If you have a hard time chewing raw carrots, canned carrots can suffice in a pinch. How to prepare fresh carrots. You want to save washing them until you are ready to use them. So wash and scrub them when you're about to use them. Peeling them is optional. It is not mandatory. It does make them look a little bit nicer, but if you scrub them well, they don't have to be peeled, okay? And again, when you go to use them, you want to discard anything that looks unhealthy or bad, or if the tips are starting to turn brown, please do cut those off. You don't want them. You may have noticed that when you peel a carrot and you let it sit for a little bit while you're doing something else in your meal preparation, that carrot on the outside may form kind of a whitish area all over it, almost looking like it's got a peel on it all over again. No worries, it's just a sign that it's starting to dehydrate a bit from being exposed to the air. All you need to do is give them a drink. Run them under some cold water, or put them in a bowl of cold water for just a little bit. Allow them to soak up some water, and there'll be no problem. You don't need to peel them a second time, okay? Now, there is some controversial information out there about the carrot tops and if they are edible. Some people say no, some people say yes. The carrot greens that you might find on your carrots at the grocery store are edible. They are not toxic. However, they do contain some compounds, alkaloids and nitrates, that may bother some people. So if you're not sure whether you're bothered by alkaloids or nitrates, it's up to you on whether or not to eat those carrot greens, okay? But they are edible. They are not poisonous in any way. So feel free to give the greens a try if you want to. If you don't want to eat them, I am kind of an animal advocate here. Everywhere we've lived, most places where we've lived, we've always had a rabbit living in our yard somewhere. I have named each and every one of them Bun. That's just fun to me. They're always Bun. Whether it's a he or a she, it's always Bun. So if you have a rabbit in your yard and you have carrot tops that you don't want to eat, please don't throw them away. Throw them out the door for Bun. Bun will appreciate it, okay? Now, if you want to forage for food, or you're out and about on a walk and you see something that looks like a carrot top growing somewhere, it may or may not be a wild carrot. If it is a wild carrot, no problem. But there are wild carrot look-alike plants out there that are not carrots in any form, and those greens are toxic and are not edible. So if you're out and about and kind of wondering what greens out here might be edible to humans, if you see something that looks like a carrot, you need to check it out very, very carefully before you eat those greens, because they might be toxic, but not the ones found in the grocery store. Okay? Cooking and serving methods. Oh, I've got some interesting things here to do with raw carrots. We all know they can be chopped and shredded and added to a green salad anytime. They add a great flavor and crunch, color, and valuable nutrients to just about any salad that you can add them to. We know that. An interesting salad would be shredded carrots, beets, and apples. Mix those together, maybe put a little bit of a dressing of sort on there, and it would be really good. Carrot sticks are a great addition to any finger food setup that you've got, and they make a great vehicle for consuming dip. You know, you can take your carrot sticks and eat some dip with them that way. They're really good. I found an interesting recipe of sorts, and I've got it in this section here on making spiced carrot sticks I'd never heard of before. But they might make an interesting addition to a party setup. So it says to soak carrot sticks in hot water spiced with cayenne, coriander seeds, and salt. Allow them to cool, drain, and then serve. That might be an interesting twist on a way to serve carrot sticks. Fresh carrots can also be added to a favorite smoothie if you have a high-speed blender. If you don't, and you use a regular blender, you may still have some chunks in there that might not be something that you want. So in that case, you could even add some cooked carrots to your smoothie, and it would be delicious as well. You can also juice fresh carrots, and I add fresh carrots to the juice that we drink every day, and it's delicious. And a really fabulous way is to take fresh carrots and juice them along with apples or pineapples. And with pineapples, it's really sweet, and to me it's like a dessert. It's that sweet to me. So you might give that a try sometime if you have a juicer. Now, cooked carrots can be boiled, steamed, stir-fried, stir-steamed, braised, roasted, added to soups and stews and chowders, baked in cookies, muffins, and cakes, added to pot pies, baked into chips even, and who knows what else you can. It's only limited to your imagination on what you can do with carrots. They're very, very versatile. Herbs and spices that go with carrots: parsley, cinnamon, clove, allspice, mint, nutmeg, ginger, dill, thyme, basil, coriander, cumin, curry, dill, fennel, garlic, mace, nutmeg, paprika, rosemary, and sage. A lot of options there. Foods that go well with carrots: cream and cream cheese, butter, whether it's straight butter or brown butter, brown sugar, maple syrup, molasses, rice, pasta, chicken, beef, oatmeal I thought was interesting, walnuts, peas, potatoes, raisins, kale, spinach, Swiss chard, mushrooms. Now below that I have a lot of links to recipes. Some of these are my own, some of these are not, but some of them are very, very interesting. And as with some of the other 101 paperwork that I've provided for you, some of these sites have multiple recipes in them, so they are well worth checking out if you're looking for something new and different to do with carrots. I found some interesting new and different things that I would never have thought of before. And then I have resources below that. So I know this was a little bit long, but there's a lot to be said about carrots. If you have questions that I didn't answer along the way, feel free to ask in the comments section below. I sure hope this helps. This is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Have a great day, everybody.